Hello, once again, welcome to another edition of the I'm Always Right Sports Podcast. I am your host, as always, the Mouth of Michigan, Robin Decker. With me, as always, my co-host, the Merc Zone, Mike Merkel.
I'm right here.
And if you're wondering why we have not had any 24/7 championship changes over the past couple weeks, it's because the brain has been out of town. So, unfortunately, she shipped the belt back to us to mock us, but unfortunately, neither myself, nor Mike, nor Kyle, or anybody else that wants a shot at that beautiful championship has the opportunity to get it because M has been basically in hiding for the past couple weeks. So, it's a bunch of baloney, if you want to say.
Maybe we should make a new rule on that.
Yeah, I know, right? You can only hold it for a certain amount of time if you're not willing to defend it all the time, right? Because I have a day job. I can't fly out and go find these people just for this dang thing, right? Sits there and mocks me.
But so angry.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so we've got so much to go over this week, guys. Episode 34 of the show. We've got a Big Ten college football preview, and Mike's going to really give us the down and dirty on every single Big Ten team. We got some predictions, their over-under schedule, a whole bunch of good stuff there. Really, as a preview, as a precursor to the college football season coming up here in about a month or so. We're also going to talk about the Madden ratings. We're going to do a little crossover for you video game fans. We're huge Madden fans here on the show. Yes. We figured the Madden ratings dropped. We might as well talk about it and say and ask ourselves why the Lions got shortchanged. We're also going to do the Extreme Rules review. We're going to compare it to the AEW and the Evolve shows. We're going to talk about, the results of the show and what happened there. We've got some NBA rule changes, more specifically how NBA coaches can now challenge somebody or can challenge a call, which I think is going to get really crazy really fast. Mm-hmm. And we're going to end the show with some Ron Gardenhire comments about your lovely, your faithful, your awesome, your lowly Detroit Tigers. All that good stuff coming up this week. So, Mike, let's just jump right in like we always do. The Big Ten college football season coming up very quickly here. Harbaugh's been making some comments about Urban Meyer now that he's gone. Mm-hmm. We've been talking about dual quarterback systems and having two quarterbacks on the field at the same time. We've got all this stuff, right, going on. Well, let's just start off here. What you got, my man?
Okay, so we're going to go off of what they did last year. We're going to try to predict a little bit of every team's record's going to be here.
Yeah.
At the very end, the winner of the East and West, we're going to decide who wins the Big Ten this year.
Okay.
Right now.
Yeah, sounds good.
So
you guys don't even have to watch the season because we're going to tell you right now exactly what's happening.
Okay, so Ohio State last year went 11-1. Yep. Obviously, we all know. Their under-over is 10.5 is what they're placed at.
Right.
So they start the season with an easy non-conference schedule against FAU, Cincinnati, and Miami, Ohio.
Yeah, those are all wins.
There are notable games, excluding Michigan. Yeah. Michigan State, Penn State, and Wisconsin are all played at home. Mm-hmm. So their toughest road games, I decided, is Michigan or Northwestern, since they were the winner of the West last year.
Right.
So what do you think they go?
No, I think they do the same thing. Ohio State always has that one loss somewhere. It always occurs in the middle of the season where I was like, oh, Ohio State's dead, right? They get blown out by Purdue. It just happens, and everybody freaks out, and every Michigan fan goes, yay, all right, we have a chance. No, I think they're going to win the Big Ten on that side of it. I think Michigan State's defense is probably the only thing that's going to be able to really stop them because that defense, especially if it's healthy, is going to be phenomenal. Yeah. And I think that unless for whatever reason, right, Ryan Day is just not the guy, and it's just a total. It's either going to be they're going to be dominant like they've always been, or they're just going to implode. One of the two. I don't see there's much middle room there. I don't think if you're floundering for too long at Ohio State, you're no longer at Ohio State. So I think they're going to be a force like they always are.
Yeah. So would you take the over or under on the 10.5?
I would take over, honestly. I think they win 11 games. I'd say they win 11 games at minimum there. It's a good program. The Big Ten is not at the top. It's tight, but in the middle and bottom, it's not. So, and I don't think the Michigan beats Ohio State again this year. And if that's the case, we have some serious self-evaluation happen.
So speaking of Michigan, we're going to go to Michigan next. Last year they had a 10-2 record, and their under/over set at 9.5.
Yeah.
So to look at their schedule a little bit, they have a pretty easy 2-week opener against Mid-Tennessee and then against Army at home. Their notable road games include Week 3 they play at Wisconsin and Week 7 at Penn State, and they play Notre Dame following Penn State at home with home games both against. And they're both at the same time, they're back-to-back weeks. Right. So that 6-7 Notre Dame Penn State could be a tough.
Are they home against Michigan State this year?
Yes, they are.
They're home against Michigan State. Yeah.
So I think they're home against Michigan State and against Ohio State.
Jeez, that makes that loss to Ohio State this year going to be even more tough to swallow. But yeah, I'd say I'm going to take the over. I still think they win 10 games. Okay. I think that's kind of been the mantra so far for Harbaugh, right? I think they beat Michigan State this year. I don't. We'll talk about them here in a second, but I like the fact that they have been willing to change the offense. And obviously, here's the deal, guys. I have been very transparent. I've been very consistent about what I think about Michigan football. I am a Michigan football fan, but I will not, in good conscience, say that they have a chance to beat Ohio State until they beat Ohio State. That's just straight up. You haven't done it in forever, so I'm not going to come on here and say that Michigan should be beating Ohio State. They should be beating Ohio State, but they haven't even been competitive with Ohio State outside of the 1 year. Yep. So until that happens, I cannot, as a podcaster, as a fan, as an informed fan, and being able to somebody say, you know what, you should look at this how you look at it. I don't trust it. I don't think Shea Patterson's the guy. I just think they should just hand the keys over to McCaffrey or whoever else because. You know what I mean? I felt the same way with Spate, right? Yep. You're too old. You didn't get it done. Useless to me. I think they go 10-2. I think they're going to be in the hunt to the very end. I think they beat Ohio State, but I think that run, Wisconsin, you got Penn State, you got Notre Dame, Michigan State, Ohio State. You're losing probably 2 of those football games.
Gotcha. All right, so next we're going to hit Penn State.
Yep.
They went 9-3 last year,
yep.
and they're on over set at 8.5 games. Mm-hmm. They start the season 3-game homestand against Idaho, Buffalo, and Pitt.
Yep.
But then they have a tough.
It'll be a tough low-key game. Pat Narduzzi does a hell of a job in Pittsburgh. That's just a game to kind of one of those weird games. But anyway, continue.
Then I think their toughest part is they have a 5-7 in weeks 5 through 7 stretch. They play at Iowa, home against Michigan, then at Michigan State.
That's a tough.
Which is a very
they don't
tough.
Escape. They're undefeated.
Yeah.
There.
And then their notable week 11 game they play at Ohio State.
I'm gonna go low. I'm gonna go under on that. I think their ceiling is probably 8 games. They don't have a starting quarterback right now that I can name. Trace McSorley obviously not there anymore. I don't see Penn. I've never seen Penn State as this great dominating force of a team, right? Mm-hmm. I think they benefited from the Big Ten a couple years ago being down and teams not rising to expectations, whether that's Ohio State or Michigan or whatever. So even though they got a Big Ten championship, that doesn't say a lot to me. Michigan's beat the living tar out of them the past couple of years now. So I would say that at most it's 8 wins, but I'd be shocked I wouldn't be shocked because I don't think James Franklin's that good of a coach.
Okay. So next we're hitting our other Michigan school. Yep. We got Michigan State. Mm-hmm. They went 7-5 last year. Their under/over is put at 7.5.
Really? That's surprising.
So they start with a 3-game homestand against Tulsa, Western Michigan, and Arizona State. Mm-hmm. They have a tough 4 out of 5 game.
Look up Herm Edwards. Seriously.
They have a tough 4 out of 5 game stretch. So they play week 4 at Northwestern.
That's
and
hard.
Then week 6 at Ohio State, week 7 at Wisconsin, and then week 8 they play home against Penn State.
Wow.
And then they play Michigan on the road in week 10.
Yeah.
So I think that's why I said it 7.5 is all these games in a row they have.
Yeah, I don't think they escape. I think that I'm going to come on record right now and say I am not a Michigan State fan, but Michigan State's defense has the potential to be the top defense in the country. Yeah. They legitimately have the option to do that if they stay healthy, if they maintain that defense could be legit. Like as good as it was when they made the Final Four run. That's how good it could be, theoretically. So with that being said, though, I don't know who's playing quarterback, right? I mean, even whatever his name, Lewerke was terrible. Yep. Rocky, was it McIntosh or whatever the guy's name? Terrible. You know what I mean? You're going to have your number 1 receiver back. I get that. Your running back game has always been strong, right? They've always been able to run the ball. But with the way the schedule is setting up, I don't think they beat Michigan this year. I just don't. I don't think that they beat Ohio State, even though they somehow always manage to.
They're at Wisconsin.
Wisconsin, I think they can beat. I don't like Wisconsin as much as other people do. But Northwestern's going to be tough. Arizona State is going to be a tough non-conference game. There's just a lot there. So what is it? 7.5.
7.5.
That's tough. I'm gonna give them the over, but at 8 wins. Okay. But that's it. Like I could see that that's their top max. I don't think there's just too much uncertainty there right now, especially on the offensive side of the ball.
Continuing in the East, we got Maryland up next. They had a 5-7 record last year. They're set at 5.5.
Could have beat Ohio State, you jackasses.
They have a possible tough start with home games against Syracuse, and then a road game against Temple.
Mm-hmm.
And then
programs.
Yep, and then they end the season in their last 4 games: home against Michigan, at Ohio State, home against Nebraska, at Michigan State.
So it was 3 out of 4. They probably maybe Nebraska's that only win out of those 4.
Yeah,
there.
And then Syracuse
is 5. What's their
5.5.
5.5.
So would you take over under on that?
I would say under. I'm probably gonna say 5. 5. That's probably what I like them at. But this team it's a younger team. They don't have you look at Maryland and you go, it looked like they were kind of on the upswing a little bit with DJ Durkin there, but obviously Durkin's a little crazy. So with that being said, the uncertainty in the coaching, the uncertainty in the fact that it seems like they always have some pretty good skill position players, you know what I mean? But the quarterback is never really there. So I'm kind of mad.
Going under on that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Especially with other teams. I got other teams going 8, 9, 10 wins. The loss has got to come somewhere. So
we got 2 more teams here.
Yeah.
So Indiana was 5-7 last year. Also, they're also set at 5.5 as their under/over. They have an easy first 4 weeks with like Ball State, Eastern Illinois, and UConn. But they do have a home game against Ohio State planted there, so that could be an early loss there. And then looking through their schedule, it's not too bad until you hit the week 10 through 11 where they play at Penn State, home against Michigan, and then their last game's at Michigan State.
Yeah.
So you're playing a tough
I don't like
end there.
Indiana. I don't like the way they play football. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I know they like to try to establish the run early. They liked a lot of the trickeration and stuff like that. I think their defense plays terrible a lot of the time. You know what I mean? I don't think that, once again, it's one of those situations to where you go, okay, what? Give me a reason to believe in Indiana football. You know what I mean? So I'm going to say the under. I'm going to say maybe. I'm going to say like that. Actually, no. Give me the over on that. Okay. They get 6 wins because those first 4 games are so easy that it's like it's almost we got 7
You start
wins,
off at 3-1.
Exactly.
You can win 3 probably somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. So give me 6 wins, but that's 5 wins.
And our last team is Rutgers.
That's 0, just 0.
Last year was 1-11. They're set at 2.5.
No, who's their first 4 games? Is anybody? Who's their non-conference? Because it's just going to be. I'm sure it's going to be stupid. So
I can look that up.
Right now.
But yeah, they're set at. Don't you like where they're set at 2.5?
2.5. Can you imagine that's the opening line? You're the head coach of Rutgers. I mean, granted, you're making money, so you don't really care. But at the same time, you're like, all right, what's our over/under set? Michigan's 9.5, 10.5, Ohio State 10.5, and then you got Rutgers 2.5. Okay, they expect us to win 2 football games, maybe 3 football games. There is, I mean, you look at Rutgers. They have a young coach there. The program, it should never been in the Big Ten, right? We can all kind of agree on that. You can't name a good Rutgers since probably Ray Rice, since he was there. I don't think that they do anything spectacular.
So funny to note. So their first game's home against UMass, which
okay.
Then their out of conference schedule is Boston College, Liberty, and that's it. They went
so
3,
I'm going to say they win 2 games. So I'm going to go take the under.
You're going to take the under?
I'm going to still take the under.
I love that.
It's not a good football team, dude. I'm sorry, it's not.
So who do you have in the East this year?
Ohio State.
Okay.
State. But you know what's crazy, though, is I remember watching when Michigan played Rutgers last year, and they were really touting how good the special teams were of Rutgers. That's how you know you don't do anything. I mean, Grant, I get it. It's the 3rd phase of the game, and it's an important phase of the game. But the fact that the only thing you have to hang your hat on is, well, we've got an above-average special teams. We don't do offense well, we don't do defense well. But when we punt it away to you, we get down there as fast as possible.
We're going to get to you.
If we ever get in field goal range, we're going to make it sometimes. Like, that's just rough. But yeah, I think Ohio State gets it. Like I said, I think it's going to be a dogfight to the very end. I think it could very well come up between Michigan and Ohio State, But as Michigan fans know, and whether you want to hear this or not, I'm going to be very blunt and honest with you when I say that in those big games, and we talked about it just a couple weeks ago, Michigan does not show up. So until you do, and until you do it consistently, I'm not going to believe it. You need to do it one time. You do it one time, everybody been the bandwagon for the next 50 years. We've still been talking about the championship from 1997, for goodness sakes. So come on. Yep. Get it done. But I think Ohio State gets it.
Okay, so now we're going to start off in the West.
Yep.
Got 7 teams in the West here. Northwestern, last year was 8-4. Their spread is set at 6.5.
Wow, really?
Yep. They have a tough early stretch from weeks 3 to 6. You got home against Michigan State, at Wisconsin, home against Ohio State, home against Iowa. And then, just to make it worse, they start the season, week 1, at Stanford.
Wow. Yeah, that's not good.
That's not
They're going to take a step. They're obviously going to take a step back, right? Northwestern had a hell of a Cinderella type of run last year. I'm going to say the over. I'm going to say 7 wins probably is probably their max. I don't like going much over that, because there's a reason why the line is set to where it's at, right? You just look at, But at the same time, this side of the Big Ten is so much weaker than the other side. If Michigan was on this side, I'd be like, yeah, Big Ten championship every game. Yeah, but it's not a thing. If Michigan State was over, same thing. But it's not. So you look at this team, you look at Iowa, you look at Northwestern, and look at Wisconsin. Those are the 3 teams that really have any chance of getting there. So all right, let's keep going.
All right, so Wisconsin last year was 7-5. Their spread is at 8.5 this year. Many of their big games are at home this year, which helps. You got Michigan, Northwestern, Michigan State, and Iowa all at home. Your toughest road game is Ohio State, week 8 after traveling to Illinois, so you got a back-to-back road stretch. So what do you like?
I think I'm going to take the over. I think they're going to be the ones to get there. I don't like Wisconsin a ton, but looking at that side of it, I don't necessarily think. I mean, Northwestern is what it is. If you're banking on Northwestern making it back-to-back years, I mean that you have some inside information. And Iowa's a team that's like, okay, they always pull up some weird wins, but they never do anything major. So I'm going to say over. I think they get to 9 wins. They run the football extremely well. And that's what's going to get them there, unfortunately.
So Purdue last year was 6-6. Their spread's at 6.5. They play a tough TCU week 3 at home, so it's their tough out of schedule one. They play Penn State, Iowa, Northwestern, and Wisconsin on the road, and Northwestern and Wisconsin are back-to-back road games. And they stay away from both Michigan teams and Ohio State in their schedule.
That's
so
nice.
You got none of the 3 in their schedule.
I'm going to say over then, just because of that, right? I like what Purdue's doing. The problem is Purdue can't stop anybody. So I think they're in the right direction, probably since the first time since Drew Brees was there. So you got to look at it and you go, okay, but I think they'll be better than people think. I think they're going to pull an upset win over somebody at some point. Just hope it's not anybody that I care about.
So Iowa last year went 8-4. Their spread's at 7.5. They play a tough week 3 game at Iowa State. They're not home against that one. They play a tough road schedule. They got at Michigan, Northwestern, and Wisconsin. Again, Northwestern and Wisconsin are back-to-backs. And they also have a tough 3-game series in the middle of the season. That's at Michigan, home against Penn State, home against Purdue.
Yeah,
so
I'm going to say lower. I'm going to say 7 wins this year.
Took one with the under?
Yeah, I'm going to take the under. I think there's some ceiling of 7 wins. Once again, they tried to run the football really well. They lost Noah Fant. They lost Hawkinson. I know that they're a boring team to watch. They're always kind of heavy on the defensive side of the ball as far as being able to keep things low and keep things somewhat, I would say, they like to lull people to sleep almost. That's the best way of putting that. So I'm going to say the under on that, especially because I think Purdue's going to have a better year.
All right, this one might shock you a little bit here. Okay. So we're going Nebraska next. They were 4-8 last year.
Scott Frost.
And their under over said 8.5.
Wow.
And listen to this. So this is what's interesting about this schedule is they have a very early first 4 games are super easy. They got D2 teams or low D1 teams to play.
4.
You got home games against tough teams, including Ohio State, Northwestern, Wisconsin, and Iowa. But you're playing them all at home. Their toughest road game to find is either Purdue or Maryland.
Well, it's setting up pretty well for them.
Yeah,
then.
so I think their schedule sets up nice, but I don't. That's a tough one for me, taking under or over there.
So what? It's 8.5.
8.5.
I'm going to say under. And here's the thing.
You think like 8 as an under, or
I'm going to say more like 7. And
7,
here's why I say this. I think that the competition. I don't think Nebraska's all of a sudden is just going to get is going to become amazing. Right? I like Scott Frost. I think he's going to do a great job for them. He used to play for them at Nebraska, but I don't. I'm also at the same point. You were so terrible last year.
Yeah.
Even with the 4 easy, I think you pull out 3 big wins that you kind of have something to hang your hat on. But you're losing to Ohio State. You're probably going to lose at some point to a Wisconsin or Northwestern, something like that. Even at home, you're going to have a couple big home losses there. They're going to be like, man, Nebraska's going to be a team where they're going to go, we had a chance. And we blew it, as I feel like this year.
That's their season.
Next year, you see it and you go, okay, it kind of lines up, and you're not playing a ton of tougher teams. You go, okay, maybe this is the year they can pull a Northwestern and come out of nowhere and go and get to the Big Ten championship.
All right, so second to last year, we got Minnesota. Last year they were 6-6. Their spread's at 6.5. They have an easy first 3-game schedule out of conference games. They play tough road games, including Purdue, Iowa, and Northwestern. But their toughest game, quote unquote, you could say, is Wisconsin, and they get it at home.
Yeah.
So
PJ Fleck, at Minnesota, there's just not enough. I mean, that's what kills me, man. Like this, every team I look at, I go, these are all wins. It's just so hard to predict, this side of it, just because they're all just average for me in a lot of ways, right? That's why I wish there would be some sort of balance, like I keep going back to. But I'll say 6 wins probably at like hard 6. Yeah. Like I said, I just don't. To me, I understand why there may be some hope from Minnesota fans with the PJ Fleck thing. But keep rowing your boat to 6 wins, because that's where you're going to be.
And then finally, we're chilling with Illinois. They were 4-8 last year.
Is Lovie Smith still the coach
Yep.
there? Yeah, with the beard and everything, huh?
Their spread's set at 4.5.
Can I choose -2 wins?
You might want to choose after I show you what's going on. So they play home games early against Michigan and Wisconsin.
Loss.
Tough late game stretch with road games including Purdue, Michigan State, and Iowa.
Those are all
and
losses.
then they end the season against Northwestern at home.
Yeah, I'm going to say 1 win.
You're going to 1 win.
1 win.
So you're taking the under hard.
Yeah, I don't think Illinois is very good.
Okay.
I don't think...
who out of that would you take out of the West?
I'm going to take Wisconsin.
You're taking Wisconsin?
I'm going to take Wisconsin. Yeah, I think that's going to be the game. Like I said, once again, I'm torn because I'd love for me as a Michigan fan to say Michigan has the best chance to get out of the other side. But until they do it, I can't in good conscience be that guy and be that fan and say, yep, that's who's going to go there. So because of that, I have to go Ohio State and I have to go Wisconsin because, like I said, Wisconsin got the pedigree. They run the football so well. So well. You know what I mean? Ball security, they maintain the clock. I just like what they do.
And so you're going to have Ohio State versus Wisconsin in the Big Ten Championship? Ohio State wins?
They get there, yeah.
All right.
Unless they have a quarterback situation where, but every year I say that, right? Like, oh, okay, it's going to be this dude, and he turns out to be a stud, so it's annoying as hell. But unfortunately, that pains me to say as a Michigan fan, but if I'm being realistic here, you can't deny their talent. So whether you want to admit it or not, they may be cheaters, but they're really good at it. So it is what it is. Who do you got? Who do you got on each side?
Oh, so I think I would go Ohio State also. Yeah. But looking through this, I would honestly probably go in Iowa just to upset. They have a tough road schedule and stuff, but I think their schedule is not too bad. I think they're probably the best team on that side. I don't know if Wisconsin's the best team on that side, but they have a lot of big home games. They're not going on the road a lot, but I think Iowa altogether, I think to me is the better team, in which case I would take
Iowa.
Iowa.
Okay, you got Ohio State winning the whole thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. God, it sucks so bad. It sucks so bad.
I know. I want to try to say about Michigan. I don't trust Michigan State's offense enough on the East. I don't trust. Penn State.
I don't trust Michigan's defense.
I don't trust.
I
don't trust Michigan's defense in big games. Penn State doesn't have the quarterback yet. That I'm like, yes, I believe in you. Like if Trace McSorley was still there, I would go. I could teeter on it, but I don't believe in it yet. So, and none of the other teams on that side could even compete against Ohio State long term.
No, exactly.
So,
it's
no way
tough.
to go around
it's
it.
tough, right? Because you look at it and it's just. It's a bummer, is really what it is at the end of the day. It's a bummer. Okay.
That's how the Big Ten is.
All right, guys, that's going to be it for that. We're going to go to break here because we're running out of time here on our beautiful machine that records our beautiful faces. So we're going to go to break real quick. When we come back, we're going to hit the Madden ratings. We're going to hit Extreme Rules and maybe fit in some maybe rule changes, and then we'll see if we got some time for some Tigers talk, okay? Remember, if you're watching this right now, you know we're on YouTube, but if you are listening to this right now and you haven't subscribed, first off, how dare you? Because you need to subscribe to the show. We're on YouTube. Just look us up. I'm Always Right Sports Podcast. If you're watching us, but you haven't listened to us on your favorite streaming site, if you're in the car right now and thinking about it, or you're on your way to work and you're not subscribed to this show, what are you doing with your life? I need you to get on that. I need you to put it together. For Mike's sake, for my sake, for your sake.
I'm going insane.
For your family's sake, you need to click that subscribe button, okay? Once again, we're going to hit Madden ratings, we're going to hit Extreme Rules, NBA rule changes, Tiger Talk, all that after the break. Stick around.
Hey guys, this is the Mouth of Michigan, Rob Mendyka from the I'm Always Right Sports Podcast. Just reminding you that we are live every single Monday at 7 in the morning on your favorite streaming services. All 5 major sports, football, basketball, baseball, hockey, and professional wrestling. I'm Always Right Sports Podcast every Monday, 7 a.m. See you there.
Okay, guys, welcome back to part 2. This is going to be a 3-part episode today, guys. Episode 34 of the I'm Always Right Sports Podcast. I really want to talk about this, Mike. I know we've been kind of texting back and forth about it. The Madden 20 is coming out here in a week or so. We're really hyped about it. We got it on pre-order because we're losers like that. We're ready to go. We're going to master that RPO stuff. But
if anyone wants to play us,
yeah, exactly.
hit us up.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll play.
IARbroadcastmedia@gmail.com if you want to play us. Hit us up on Twitter at Rob Mendyka, at Mike Merkel, or at the show at I'm Always Right PC.
And we'll set up a time.
Facebook page, all that good stuff. We'll set up a time to take you to Pound Town. But first I want to jump on here. There's a couple overall 99 ratings, but I want to start off at a little bit of an irritant here.
Okay.
My boy Matt Stafford's ranking in Madden this year is what, 78?
79.
79. That's behind such fan favorites as the Red Rocket himself, Andy Dalton. It's behind the guy who threw like 8 touchdown passes last year, Marcus Mariota. Behind guys like Cam Newton, who literally can't throw a football as of this moment.
Do you want me to give you them all?
No, I don't want to go through everybody because it's going to make me hot all over again. But I will say that I want to ask you this, Mike. Do you think, and Matt Stafford's just one example, right? But do you think that the Lions as a whole were got a little bit of the short end of the stick? And I get it. We've talked about this ad nauseum, where they're not going to be highly rated a lot of times because of Detroit. I get that. I understand. But with that being said, there should be no reason why Cincinnati Bengal is higher than a Lion. I'm sorry, unless it's AJ Green. It's just not possible. I'm sorry. It's not a thing. So, with that being said, do you think that the Lions overall, like their team rating, some of their big name players, like they got Snacks as our best player at 95, right? And then Slay, I think, is second at an 89. So, with that being said, do you think that there's some guys that should be ranked a little higher? Maybe not just with the Lions, but just in general. There's somebody where you're just like, come on, man, that's way too high.
So I'm looking at it right now. I didn't actually go super in-depth in it when we were actually initially talking about it.
Yeah.
But just kind of going through, like, I'm just going to throw you out. Did you look at all of them and you know
I looked at quite a few, yeah.
I'm just going to throw you some out that kind of shocked me initially as I look. Like a Frank Ragnow is a 79.
Right.
Deshaun Han is 79.
Right.
We can go through. Matt Prater's only a 77.
What?
Quandre Diggs is a 77.
Right.
And, like, some of these, I get, like, the line for the most part I got, because our line's not very good. Jared Davis actually downgraded from last year, now he's a 72. He was originally a 75 last year.
Right.
So that part of it, I think they kind of underhanded, but at the same time, they go off of real-life stats.
Yeah.
And when you looked at some of these guys, I'm not going to say that's, like, a general consensus of all of our guys.
For sure.
But guys like Jared Davis, you know, missed a lot of tackles last year and stuff. And that really puts a ding in when tackling's your biggest thing for a middle linebacker and you miss a lot of tackles, then you go, yeah, you got to move him down. Mm-hmm. That's why guys like Bobby Wagner got 99 because he only missed 1 tackle the entire season last year when he was there. So I think I would say as a whole, we're a little lower than what I would think. But at the same time, some of these guys, I'm like Theo Riddick at a 77, I'm like, probably.
Right.
I mean, they rated our T.J. Hawkinson at 77. I think he's like the 3rd highest rookie there.
Right.
And I'm like, they did some guys favors and some guys
that's
are
what's
like
weird. It's just like there's like such a drastic like difference. And we just watched a video recently about how they kind of reformulated how they did all the stats and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
And I get that and I appreciate the effort. But some guys, I'm like, I think we're going just a little bit based off of name value here, less about like true statistics sometimes. You know what I mean? Like I get it. Like my boy Stafford obviously had a down year last year, but even last year he threw 30 plus touchdowns 2 years ago, and he was still an 80.
The problem with that is
I mean?
they take the initial last year and put it into the game to make it like the most realistic. Like they're taking the most recent one because they come out every year.
Right.
So having down years like that, guys just like have a big drop off.
Except for Rodgers, he misses the whole year and.
Yeah, well, they take your last time you play. That's the annoying part.
But that's what I'm saying. My point being is that, like, okay, but if you're hurt, okay, then, you should have an injury-prone thing. I'm just saying, we're going to get down to the nitty-gritty, then I'm going to flip this table. I'm so irritated by it. Is there anybody rated too high? Maybe not in the Lions, but just in general. Is there, like, a couple players where you go, really? Like some of the bigger names that you've seen that are, like I don't necessarily agree with all the 99s.
I don't at all.
You know what I mean? Like,
Actually.
I think some of the guys from, like, really? Like, he's a 99. He is that great of a player to where nothing can stop him. Like, there's just nothing.
Well, I would say, I think DeAndre Hopkins, even though he's probably easily has, like, the best catching in the NFL right now, I don't know if I would be like, yes, he's, like, the best player in the league.
I don't think he's the best receiver in the league.
I know. That's what I mean. Like, when you look at top threes, people go, like, Julio, Antonio, and then maybe he's a 3, or maybe like AJ's a 3, or whatever you want to say.
I think he's fantastic.
They haven't rated over both of them, even though they're both 98s and he's a 99.
Right.
I don't know about that, but I would agree with like Khalil Mack and stuff.
Khalil Mack, I think, is the only one I think you can justifiably, based off of last year, say he's a 99. He's the only one.
Yeah, and Brady, but Brady's...
Right. Well, that's the thing, though, right? Is that a guy like Tom Brady, I think, is hard for video games to kind of capture what he does best a lot of times. The intangibles about Tom Brady are what make him so great.
Which is why, I guess if we're going big into this game now, is these X abilities or these X Factor abilities are going to be so crucial to the game now.
Right.
Because before, like, say you're playing Madden 19, when we're drafting a team and you have Brady or Deshaun Watson,
you're taking Deshaun
Watson because of the speed value, because you find no value in Tom Brady being able to throw. But now with these X Factor abilities, and now like you're going to be able to know who's open based on coverages and stuff, and like apparently the button gets bigger as he gets open because it's Brady's ability. Now you go, that's way better for me to have because now I can quick throw it if that's your thing. Quick throwing, and now you know who's open. I think that everything balances out now.
So, I mean, it's safe to say you're excited for this year's game.
Yeah.
Right? Like, what's the one thing, I guess, for, because a lot of us here who play sports obviously play Madden, and same thing with 2K or NHL or whatever. So, I mean, what's one thing that you're super stoked about as far as this game comes out here in a couple weeks?
I mean, just as a generalization, something that I can actually play, because I haven't really been playing anything, because nothing really good has come out recently. Then they all just pack everything in at the end of September. But just for the game standard, I think adding in RPOs, and they've added in multiple different playbooks and plays themselves. I've seen a lot of like bluff plays where it's a running play, but you can check out of it and during mid-play and throw the ball. I think stuff like that's going to be so effective. And once you figure out how to use it to the best of its ability, I think you're going to be like almost taking over the world.
Yeah. I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be really...
It's going to be a very fun game.
It's going to be really, really, really fun.
So. I think at least the initial month or two of learning how to do everything
is going to be frustrating as hell.
Yes. Yeah. Well, it's still a fun time.
Well, that's why we're pre-ordering, though, so we get a 3-day advantage.
Unless you're Robin, have to work every morning.
Yeah, don't remind me. I can maybe convince my boss, like, bro, I'm sick. Like, come on.
It's Madden, come on.
Yeah, I know. All right, let's shift now away from the football world a little bit. Let's go to the squared circle here. Extreme Rules last week, right? We didn't do any preview for it or anything like that at the time. I didn't really see any need to, let's be real. First thing I want to start right off with it, right, because I know Mike was pretty hot about it. Like I was about Stafford's Madden rating, that's how Mike was about Brock Lesnar winning the Universal Championship, cashing in on Seth Rollins. After the main event, Seth and Becky retained, then Brock comes out and kills him.
In 13 seconds.
Thoughts on Brock once again being your reigning, defending, undisputed Universal Champion.
Well, I did cancel my subscription right after it happened.
See, that's a drastic. So that's a reaction right there, folks. Like if you want how mad, and Mike doesn't usually. Mike only gets heated about like one or two things:
in life.
what to eat, and then if something goes bad in a video game, right? So the fact that Mike had that visceral reaction to Brock Lesnar becoming champion again, I think should say something about what just happened.
No, it was a rough. Like I heard the music and I went, and I almost just turned it off because I knew it was happening.
Yeah, exactly.
Which doesn't make any sense because if you're gonna do it, you could have done it like 3 months ago and made it sense when it was supposed to be done. But whatever, it's awful, and I hope he loses it within the next like 3 days. So
it's awful, and I don't like it.
There's just no like value to it.
Yeah, like, I think if he's gonna be around a little bit more and everything else.
For how much everyone like doesn't like that he keeps winning it, I don't know how it's still such a big draw for like everyone to watch it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like there's so much like hate toward it. Like people were like not watching until he lost it.
Right.
Like everyone was like, I think Ron's gonna win at Mania. That's why so many people watch Mania to watch him lose it. Maybe that's the thing. Maybe they want to watch him lose it.
Well, I think
but that's not my thing. I don't want to watch it until he loses it.
I think there's a certain appeal to like when JBL was champion, right? In 04 and 05, it was like, man, I just want to watch this because I want to see somebody finally kick his ass and win it, right? And he somehow managed to escape all the time. Brock's different, though, because Brock, there's never any fear he's going to lose it until, like, oh, he's definitely going to lose it now. Yeah. Like, he's no longer going to be
there's no challenger that's, like, they can take him.
That's why I wasn't really a fan of Rollins winning the Battle Royal. I would rather seen somebody else win the Battle Royal because I'm like, well, then what the hell? Then why even do the title change? But we'll talk about that in a second. Thoughts on the Extreme Rules show as a whole compared to what we saw a couple days before that with the AEW show and even the Evolve WWE NXT combination show. No. I mean, where does this rank? Is it 2? Is it 3? Is it somehow 1? But take out the Universal match, the last 5 minutes of the show, and rank the rest of it. Because I did not think this was a terrible show, but I also wasn't like, holy crap, that was.
I mean, I thought there were definitely a lot of bad parts to it. I'd probably rank it at 2. Right above the Evolve show.
Okay.
Even though I think still out of the entire totality of the weekend, the Austin Theory match is probably the best match of the weekend. That couldn't save it to being
I recently rewatched the Evolve show, and I'm kind of with you on that. I thought the Riddle match was good, not great, and I thought, right, continue, sorry.
But yeah, so I'm like, in totality, that single match I think was the best match, but as a card itself, I think this is the second best card next to the AEW card, and literally solely because of like the end two matches AEW had and like kind of the start it had, it beats it. Nothing on this show just like sprung out to me except like Lesnar winning.
Yeah, no,
I was like, wow, this is like.
I thought
big.
I thought there was some good action. I definitely saw a change. Right, I enjoyed the fact, not necessarily the match, but I liked the fact that Shinsuke is the Intercontinental Champion on the pre-show. I thought that match should have been on the actual show if you were going to put it somewhere. I enjoyed the tag match between the Revival and the Usos. I thought they always do great work. I'm such a huge Uso guy. I enjoyed. I mean, the only thing. Here's the one thing that I'm already starting to kind of get bummed out about when it comes to these kind of shows is the WWE Championship right now means absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
And this is not a reflection on Kofi Kingston, the wrestler, but Kofi Kingston is a tag team wrestler holding the World Championship. That's what I'm feeling right now. When it first happened, it was a huge moment, right? It's a great thing. But he's beaten now guys like Samoa Joe and Dolph, you know what I mean?
Daniel seven times.
Yeah, right. So I'm just kind of like, at this point, you've yet to put a challenger in front of him where I go, yeah, he's going to beat him. You know what I mean? Like, if you're going to go with Kevin Owens as champion again at some point after he does the Shane McMahon thing, I'm cool. But, like, he's a tag team wrestler who just happens to hold the world championship. He is not a world champion guy that happens to have an entourage of dudes. You know what I mean? So, with that being said, and I guess this goes to my next point, are you seeing any improvements overall with the product? We talked a couple weeks ago about how Paul Heyman, Eric Bischoff coming in as like the creative directors or whatever, even though they haven't really done a ton, but they've been starting to, whatever that means. Are you even noticing even slight changes in the programming as far as Raw or SmackDown goes to make it more watchable, more entertaining, something to make you go, okay, maybe we're seeing something
I feel like
different.
I want to say they're trying, but I don't know if I see any difference. That might help that I only watch like one Raw a month, so I don't really just notice every little detail that changes. But I just don't like Kingston, Samoa Joe, and all these like rematches, or like you would think AJ and Ricochet would be amazing, and it was kind of just like
it's okay.
It was okay. It was how like Shinsuke AJ was at WrestleMania a few years ago when it was built up to be like, wow, these two guys
this is gonna be phenomenal,
and it was just kind of
because we knew the potential. It could be phenomenal, and then it wasn't. Right.
So I want to say there's change, and there's like slight changes, but it's not enough to really go, wow, it's getting better. I think it's still stagnant.
I think so too. I'm enjoying the fact that they're trying to make some fresh matchups, especially on the undercard, right? Ricochet getting that little bit of the push. I think they're just killing other dudes. Like Drew McIntyre's being wasted right now. I think Samoa Joe is being wasted right now. I thought Ricochet winning the United States Championship had no purpose whatsoever.
Nope.
He had no reason for him to win it other just to turn AJ heel. And I'm cool that the club is back. Awesome. If they're going to be awesome and they're going to be this dominant force like they've always should have been for the past 5 years, then awesome. I don't think it's going to happen though. So there's a lot of things. There's a lot of like, oh, maybe. And then it's just like,
it dies out.
Yeah, you get me all excited just to kind of, tear away my dreams. So it's pretty awesome. Is there anything that you're looking forward to? Is like SummerSlam is coming up right around the corner, right?
We're using your account to watch it.
Yeah, we gotta have to. I guess you're coming over to my house and we're gonna watch because, oh boy, but is SummerSlam even on your radar at all right now? No, not even a little bit.
I'm not even gonna. I don't even know.
Not even to watch Bray Wyatt slaughter Balor in about 7 seconds.
Not even.
No,
I'm trying to even think. Let's see. There's Bayley and Ember Moon. That would be an amazing match on like NXT. But the main roster is going to be.
Yeah, they get 6 minutes. Yeah.
Brock Lesnar and Seth Rollins again, and that's.
Okay.
That's fine. Either Rollins going to be built up in 2 weeks to be the guy who can beat him, or Lesnar's just going to kill him in 6 seconds, like you did Cena 5 years ago.
Yep.
And then. I think there's one more match I can't think of right now. So, as of the card stands right now, not really. And I don't know what they can add to make me go, wait, I gotta watch that.
Becky and Natalya, too.
Oh, yeah, Becky and Natalya, yeah. So,
How did you miss that? Like, come on, how did you not know that?
I don't know. It only took you a minute.
Well,
to figure
it's
it
Kevin
out.
Owens, and I think Shane is going to wind up being one too. Which
So like, I don't think there's
McMahon and Seth. Here's the thing about these shows that always kills me. This is a side note before we go back to break, but is. You look at these shows and you go, okay, that's going to get 6 minutes, that's going to get 7. And then you got some of these matches where it's like, you're going to have 55 matches on this card, but they're all going to go 4 minutes long.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, Shane Kevin Owens should go, and I kid you not, 3 minutes.
Yeah.
It should be punch, 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 stunner, stunner, pin. That's how fast that match should go, and Kevin Owens should win. That's exactly how it should go. Is it going to go like that, though? No. Shane's going to have to jump off something. He's going to almost win. There's going to be interference galore, whatever. You know what I mean? So it's just, meh.
So is there anything they could add to make you want to watch it more?
I was a little bit intrigued with The Undertaker coming back and possibly doing a thing with Drew McIntyre, not because of the quality of the match. However, as I've said previously on the show, I don't know if you guys know this yet about this, but I'm very consistent in my way of thinking most times.
Okay.
So I've been very high on Drew McIntyre ever since he got brought back.
Yeah.
And I thought a match with The Undertaker and Drew McIntyre really beating the living dog crap out of The Undertaker and making Drew McIntyre look like an unstoppable force that should not lose for like the next 2 years is like the next thing. You know what I mean? Like I thought that could have been something. I thought Bray Wyatt coming back, doing the whole new gimmick. I know he's going to run through Balor, which is not the guy I would have picked to have him destroy, but regardless, the new gimmick I think is the only thing that people are even remotely interested in right now as far as Raw goes. So with those two things in mind, like Becky's cooled off a ton. And that's the only problem that they're combating, I think, WWE, is I think Rollins was so much hotter chasing the championship rather than actually having it. So, and when you book him against Baron Corbin 6 times, that also doesn't help your cause. So it's easy. I think that's what they're trying to do, is recreate that magic a little bit with the Hunt again on the way to SummerSlam in order to kind of be like, all right, is Rollins going to do it one more time? Is he going to finally be able to do it for good? And, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I think they're trying to recapture some of that magic. I just don't know if it's going to work. All right.
That's fair.
After the break, we got NBA rule changes, including the Coaches Challenge. I think is going to do a whole bunch of good and a whole bunch of bad all at the same time. I'm really excited for it. And we're also going to talk at the end of the show, Ron Gardenhire talking about how this Tigers team makes him want to have a stroke. All that good stuff coming up after the break. Stick around.
Hey guys, this is Emily the Brain, just popping in to remind you, in case we haven't said it enough yet, that we are now live on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, and a ton of other streaming services. So anywhere you find your usual podcast, you should be able to find us. Please check it out and give it a listen.
Okay, and we're back with part 3. I mean, what else can we give you guys? I mean, a breakdown of the Big Ten stuff. We got Extreme Rules. We got Madden Rain. We're talking video game. We're talking everything this week, man. Absolutely everything, except for hockey. But that's fine.
What about that Wimbledon game, though?
Yeah,
it went 5
sports. Go sports. All right, let's jump onto the hardwood here just for a little bit. I wanted to talk about this a couple weeks ago, but we just couldn't fit it in due to some time constraints and just because there were some better topics. But the NBA rule has kind of passed a couple rule changes, and the one I really want to focus on here is the Coaches Challenge, right? We've seen it in baseball. We've seen it now in football. Pretty much in movie trivia schmodown, you have a challenge, for goodness sakes. But here is the first time where coaches are going to finally be able to kind of say, wait, hold on, and I don't know, they don't have a flag, right?
I know.
They have like a hand raise or something. Like, how are you going to know?
Wait, maybe they'll like grab one of their players and like throw them on the court, or like spill water, like Jason Kidd did.
Oh, there you go.
And then like they'll like slip, and then someone will get hurt, and then while like you're in a timeout to clean the water up, or like break the guy, or like the guy tears his ACL, and then you're like, oh, I got to get someone out here. You go, hey, we need a challenge.
We went down a path there for a second. That was like a good whole arc. That was like a beginning, middle, and end for that whole guy's career.
I know.
Player X.
Yeah.
But Mike, I want to ask you. You're a big NBA guy, obviously.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on this Coaches Challenge thing? I guess is the best way of putting that.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because we haven't seen it being put into action yet or anything like that. So, what are your thoughts on that becoming a thing? And is it going to help the game at all?
I mean, it will, but at the same time, basketball is so subjective, kind of like a charge.
Yeah.
You want to go, okay, so I'm going to challenge because I think he charged, and they think it's a blocking foul. But then like it's so like you don't know if you're going to win because it's not a clear as day. Like holding in the NFL or pass interference, all this stuff in the NFL is so like You grab the outside jersey. There you go.
Except for a catch. So
Except for a catch.
Right.
Yeah. Or sometimes even getting a touchdown. You don't even know.
Yeah, that's true too. Was he a runner? Was he not a runner? All right,
Yeah,
sorry.
whatever.
Sorry, sidetrack.
Football. Oh, God. But yeah, so like I don't know, in basketball it's like there are rules that like you have to be outside the blocking area or the charge area, whatever they call it, and you have to be in a certain spot and you have to be stationary, blah blah. But when you go super slow motion and he's like walking into position, they're gonna be like, oh, he walked into position when actually he was there for like 8 seconds.
Right.
So I think it's gonna be very tough. And I don't think it's going to do that much good.
Right. I think this is a reaction to the amount of star players, the amount of coaches being ejected, and the amount of flagrant fouls being called, and the poor sportsmanship happening. Like guys like Durant, and Harden, and a lot of these guys were just every time anybody touched them, they touched them. They're like, "What's going on?" And it's just a big hoopla, right?
Yeah.
So I think this is an overreaction to something that I don't think I think I do agree that officiating needs to be more consistent, right? But I don't think necessarily this is going to help the game. I don't think it's going to achieve the result that people think it's going to achieve.
Well, and they have the same problem almost football does, where there's holding at every single play.
Exactly,
like
just
when
you see it or not.
Yeah, when you drive to the lane, you get touched no matter what.
Right.
It's just almost like how severe is it?
Well, it depends on if you make the shot or not.
And that too. Like so, like LeBron drives the lane. Yeah. I mean, he's so good at it and everything that like even if you like hit him on the arm, sometimes it doesn't look like it, but they actually do. Mm-hmm. So that's why you always go, well, he fouled me, but they're like, did he really follow you though? You're like 6'9" and 700 pounds. Like obviously you can drive the lane. Whereas like in the NFL, some guys like holding him just a little bit on the side, and me and you go, that was a hold. But obviously they're just like, but he didn't really like hold him. Like it was just kind of like a grab or something. Like so like I feel like all that stuff's just like so hard to do,
especially in real time.
Like fair, and in real time. It's like so hard to.
Do you think that this is going to improve the overall quality of officiating though? Do you think that we're heavily scrutinized, right? We're kind of under the microscope, so everything we do is now that much. I mean, because let's be real here. We've seen games. I would take that Pistons series, for example, especially Game 4, where Giannis went to the line literally 37 times.
Yeah.
And so I think that I don't know whether or not it's going to improve or not, but officiating does take a toll. You know what I mean?
It does.
Some of these foul calls, especially for star players, do you think it's going to maybe... You already said no, it isn't going to help, but do you think maybe it's going to dwindle the amount of star player treatment towards this, right? Do you think all right, so let's say I'm, Langston Galloway, all right? I'm trying to find a name that nobody cares about. No offense. And I foul James Harden, right? Or I get called for a foul.
Yeah.
But in reality, it was a charge against me or whatever, right? Do you think that's going to help at least somewhat kind of balance it a little bit to where it's like, okay, yeah, but you're fouling just as much as Joe Schmo and you're James Harden or you're Chris Paul or Westbrook.
I actually think the opposite because I think there are going to be some times where, and I'm going to use LeBron because he's usually the most like...
Well, he's the best player.
Yeah, for the best player, and usually stuff revolves around him for some reason. I have a lot of experience in this. So like, also Brady though I have to say. Yeah. So like, say like it's a charge, and so he's like there, and they run into him, and then they call it blocking or something. I think there's instances where they'll go to review, like they'll review it, and then they'll overturn it for his way. So as you say, well, maybe like someone like a Langston Galloway might just get the benefit of some calls and stuff. Maybe I think it could go reverse and go, well, now we can just give stars even more. Like if we miss one on a star, now we can go. Now we can fix it in that.
I think this is going to be the most prevalent in the playoffs, right? Where calls are such at a premium, where everybody is clamming for everything all the time, right? I do think it's going to slow the game down a little bit. You know what I mean? But here's the thing. I will say this: if everything can be somewhat reviewed. And it's going to kind of put that microscope even more on officiating. I do think that they will be a little bit more hesitant, probably, to call a whistle, right?
Yeah.
Because you can't argue, you can't review something that wasn't called. You know what I mean? So I think that in some instances it may, go like, okay, maybe we don't blow the whistle on that because we don't know for sure. Yeah. So instead of having maybe that, and it's stars versus stars at the end of the day, and when it comes to playoffs. So maybe that'll kind of help level the playing field. So like a guy like Harden, right, where he jumps into a guy while he's shooting, right? Maybe I don't blow the whistle every freaking time he shoots the damn basketball because You know what I mean?
Well, that was
You're
probably
gonna
that
see
series that they didn't.
Yeah, exactly. That's the problem because when you do it and you try to use it to your advantage, then people go, well, okay, well, what do you want me to do?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I just think that I do agree with you. I think that some of the signs, but I also think maybe it can help just a little bit. Maybe check some people's egos at the door and be like, you're not as clean as you thought you were, and I think it maybe will help with like the amount of complaining that comes out of every game.
Maybe.
You know what I mean? With like, we reviewed it and we all looked at it, and it's all coming from a central place.
Yeah.
So it's unbiased opinion, hopefully.
I was gonna say unbiased.
Hopefully,
big asterisks
you know what I mean?
unbiased.
But I mean, I can hope, right? All right. Last topic of the episode: Ron Gardenhire, Detroit Tigers, your fan favorites. Basically, Ron Gardenhire, came out and said that this season with this Detroit Tigers team has been his hardest yet. I put on our show sheet, I put shocker question mark, and more as a joke, but I guess I'll ask you anyway. Are you surprised by that?
Well, I guess if you want to say...
Just of his career, because he coached the Twins for a long time, and they were terrible. But
like if you, I guess, that point of view, yeah. But like trying to like make a team good, this might actually be his hardest.
Yeah.
Because this team is so bad that like there's literally no talent anywhere. Yeah. So like trying to make them good,
and any talent you have, you're trying to give away.
Yeah, exactly. Like you get like. Matthew Boyd, he's like becoming a decent pitcher, and now they're like, oh wait, we want to trade him now.
Yeah,
and you're like, well, I just developed him.
Yeah, we need
and
to
now
trade
he's
him,
getting
right.
traded. So like all these guys that he's like developing that might be at least decent to good players, now they're trading away. Yeah. I feel like this is probably.
No, I think so too. I mean, like I said, he served over several hard years as the Twins manager, but once again, I think that's why he was brought here too. Was okay, we're not going to be very good, so I need to develop young talent, right? And the talent that we're not going to trade away, the talent that we need to be our future, we need to teach them solid fundamental baseball so we can build upon that going forward. I'm going to ask you though, as a fan, do you think that Tigers fans are being patient enough with this rebuild? Right, there was a study out there, I think, that was like we've dropped like 41% in attendance and stuff like that for the Tigers. Obviously, the fan base is dwindling by the minute. The more they lose. So, do you think the Tigers fans, if you're truly a fan, and we're not talking to the bandwagon fans because we don't have time for you, but the true fans of a sport, true fans of a team, right? Do you think they need to be more patient with this rebuild? Because theoretically, you're really only in like year 2 of like a full-on tear-down rebuild.
Yeah, see, my problem with this is I think you're in the worst time to be bad. Yeah. Because
everybody else is also bad?
Well, not even that, but like baseball as a whole is kind of almost, I'm not going to say dying out, but it's a lot less prevalent around. Like any sports station you go to talks football, basketball. Right. Sometimes hockey when it's like good stuff. Yeah, and then like baseball is usually like the fourth one that they talk about. They even talk about soccer and like stuff like that over it. Yeah. So now you're like, and now that you're being bad, now no one's like, well, now I like baseball. Yep. And I like the Tigers. That's like a bad 1-2 punch there almost. Yes. So now I think people are just like leaving baseball as a whole now if you're just a Tigers fan. Right. Now, which is now bad for the team because now attendance is down and now and it's going to be hard to get those fans back. Even when you become good, you're like, hey, we're good again. It's like, but I don't really care about baseball now. Yeah. Like I think that's the problem we run into now.
Yeah, no doubt about it, right? I think fans do need to be a little bit more patient with this. They need to understand. I do think, though, I think it's hard for Detroit fans too because it feels like almost everybody's going through a rebuild right now. The Wings are going through a rebuild. Yeah. The Pistons are kind of floating. The Lions are kind of floating right now. But
see, that's a pessimistic way to think about it. Yeah. If you're optimistic, you go, but wait, in 3 or 4 years, all these teams should be top tier playoff teams.
Right. If not, they should be tearing it down. Yeah. You know what I mean? So yeah, I agree with you. I think that there needs to be a little bit more patience. I do think that everybody likes the thought of a rebuild until the rebuild actually happens, and then you're like, oh wait, that requires us to suck for 3 or 4 years. Oh, I don't want that though. I want to still be good, but I also want to get better and younger and faster. And you know what I mean? It doesn't work that way, folks, unfortunately.
Unless you're the Yankees.
Yeah, but at the same time, you're not a big market here. We're not a big market. That's why when we win a championship here, it means more than it does in New York, right? Is because of those kind of things. Mm-hmm. What do you want to see though? Is there anything else you want to see going forward? Do you want to see these trades happen? Do you want to see as much as we can get, as fast as possible? Yeah, do you want to see everybody just get brought up and let's just do it?
I'm just kind of done with the season at this point. So I'm with you for sure. I'm just kind of like scrap it almost. Like the season didn't happen and just like do what you can next year, I guess. There's not a lot you can do now. You can try to trade away Matthew Boyd. You can try to do this. You can try to move guys around. But at the end of the day, you're like the second or worst team in baseball now, officially. So I think it's just kind of like a dud season, like we knew it was going to be, and just move on to next year. Just focus on the future.
Focus
now.
on the future. Focus on the
That's
future.
all you have now.
Yeah, pretty
Like
much.
once the Lions go like in the years where the Lions only win like 4 games, after like they win 2 and they have like 3 left, you're like, all right, just focus to next year.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's just one of those scenarios where it's just like you have no chance. Why win those end games? Even though they beat the Packers this year, why? Just look at the end game.
Totally worth it.
Could have got Josh Allen. Just look at the future.
Shut up. I don't want to think about it.
Just look at the future. Yeah.
No, I'm with you
That
for
was a
sure.
shame.
I'm with you for sure. You know that never happens, though. You know that.
Yeah, but just look at Josh Allen.
Yeah.
And then that's all we needed.
Yeah, whatever. It's fine. Packers, by the time they play us, will have not beaten the Lions in like 1,000 days or something like that. Isn't that
And then
crazy?
they're gonna beat us.
Isn't that crazy though?
Yeah.
Like just thinking about that for a
Is it
second.
2 straight years?
Yeah, it's
3
been
straight years?
2 straight
2.5 years?
Yeah,
Technically.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy when you think about it like that. But anyway, it's fun and I hate Aaron Rodgers. It's funny.
If Aaron Rodgers was hurt, would you be okay with Packers beating us? Just to get Josh Allen? In hindsight 2020, let's
Let me put it
this
this way.
down.
If Stafford didn't play, then yes, I'd be okay with it. Because you know why? Because it's the only thing. Because everyone cares so much about quarterback wins, which is not a stat, and I will continue to say that for as long as I live. It's not a stat. So the fact that like if they lost to that, it's just one more thing. Well, we couldn't even beat the Packers without Aaron Rodgers. So at least if Stafford also didn't play, I'd go, okay, well we had, what's his nuts, Matt Castle playing against whoever. So it's a little bit different. So then I would have been. Then I would have been like,
all
all right,
those
whatever.
fans that are big fans of QB sets also wanted Josh Allen, and that's the reason we did get Josh Allen. So all those people.
Right, but that's what I'm saying, though, right? So, like, that, to me, you go and you say, all right, yes, should we have? Yeah, we probably should, but whatever. The point being is that if Stafford plays well and they lose, right, it's Stafford's fault still, and we can't even beat the Packers without him. But if they don't win, you know what I mean? It's kind of one of those, you lose either way. So if Stafford was out and we knew the back injury was as serious as it was and he just didn't play, even though he would have got shredded for not playing, I would have been like, all right, well, we lost the Packers. It doesn't matter anyway. You know what I mean? But once again, nobody knew Josh Allen was going to fall to 8 anyway, or 7, or whatever.
We were actually 5, but.
Whatever, okay? Calm it down.
fine.
It's
I'm
fine.
just
Listen, T.J. Hawkinson's going to be the man.
Oh, God. Yeah, let's pick T.J. Hawkinson over Josh Allen now, guys. All right.
We didn't pick him over Josh Allen.
I know, but we should have gotten Josh Allen.
Okay, I understand. You're fine. It's going to be okay. He's going to go to Jacksonville. His career is going to be floundering. It's going to be fine. Okay?
Stafford has a better record or a better overall than Nick Foles now going back to Madden. Did you see?
Does
that?
he?
Yeah.
Good.
Even though Nick
You
Foles
should.
is a Super Bowl champion.
Well, that's great. So is Eli. Eli's what, 50?
Yeah, but he's also 48 years old.
I don't care. That doesn't matter. That's the part that kills me, man. It's stupid. Anyway, all right. We're getting off track here. We should have ended the episode 20 minutes ago.
You should have.
I know.
Yeah,
it was
we really
ridiculous.
should have.
It's all good. All right, guys. That's going to be it for episode 34. Tune in next week, hopefully, and we'll be back in town. I'm not sure. Do you know her schedule? I don't even know her. We're engaged. I'm going to marry this woman, and I don't even know her schedule. Is
She
gonna be
will.
back? You think she'll be back next
Probably
weekend?
not.
Probably not. She sucks. All right. Anyway, guys, that's going to be it for episode 34. For the Merc Zone,
Yes.
I am the Mouth of Michigan. We will see you guys, as always, next time.